The 4th generation Lexus RX is an eye-catching piece of automotive design, but it only got to this point because the boss said it wasn't edgy enough. When the RX was almost ready to be signed off, the company's chief, Akio Toyoda, demanded that it needed more emotion and therefore, presumably, more angles. As a result, the brand's spindle grille appears to be bigger than ever before. And up the side of the car, there are these sharp lines that run the full profile of the vehicle. The biggest talking point, according to Lexus, is the C-pillar design, which is the first from the Japanese brand to offer up that floating roof look. At the rear, it kind of looks like the car's been involved in a hurricane. All the lines blow together into what is, at the back, a rather conventional looking tailgate. Some models feature a funky new opening system with gesture control. Simply wave your hand or arm near the L badge and the tailgate should open on cue. In the boot, there's a competitive amount of cargo area, and unlike the previous generation RX, you can now fold down the rear seats using an electric switch. That's pretty neat if you ask me. Anyway, let's have a look up front. There's been a pretty big rethink of the cockpit of the RX, including a new position for the gear shifter, electronic park brake, and a revised dashboard. Higher spec models get Lexus's 12.3-inch media screen, which is controlled by the remote touch mousepad system. And behind that, there's a drive mode selector, which you can choose different modes for the engine, steering, and in models equipped with the technology, the suspension. In the rear, there's plenty of space for adults, more than any RX that's come before it, and kids will appreciate the sunblinds. All right, let's find out what it's like to drive. The car we're in is the RX200t, which has got a turbocharged 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, which is familiar from other models in the Lexus range. It's the first time there's been a turbo engine fitted to the RX. The engine revs fairly smoothly, and when you do put your foot down, there's a decent amount of reward there. It's teamed to a 6-speed automatic, and in Australia it'll be offered with front-wheel drive only. In other markets, there's all-wheel drive as an option. Lexus says they've rethought the underpinnings to make the car drive and handle differently to the previous models. Now, it does that to an extent. It's still quite rolly through corners, and although they've stiffened up the underpinnings to make it feel a little bit more car-like, it's not necessarily going to set any dynamic benchmarks, considering there's cars in the market such as the BMW X5. In terms of the steering, well, it's not going to set any benchmarks there either. That said, the car does ride quite nicely, and considering that all cars will be offered with 20-inch wheels, that's a testament to the effort that's been put in to make it comfortable. So, the design is undeniably progressive, but the new RX, based on our first drive in the US, hasn't necessarily taken as big a step forward in some other areas. We can't wait to get it into the Car Advice Garage in Australia to see how it stacks up against some of its competitors. Stay tuned for that.